Sobrang di ko pa mapaniwala. Maraming salamat sa suporta at sana patuloy yung suporta niyo sa
What happened in Abu Dhabi was not supposed to happen. Not on paper. Not in protocol. Not in the carefully controlled world of professional tennis. Yet under the blazing desert lights, in front of thousands of stunned fans, a moment unfolded that no scriptwriter could have dared to imagine. This was not applause. This was not ceremony. This was destiny breaking through the surface. As Alex Eala stood on center court, exhausted, emotional, and still catching her breath, the atmosphere shifted. Something felt different. The noise faded. Cameras stopped moving. Even the air felt heavier. Moments earlier, she had been fighting for survival. Now, the tennis world itself seemed to be holding its breath. Because what followed was not just recognition. It was transformation. The tournament director of the Mubadala Abu Dhabi Open did more than congratulate a rising star. He stepped beyond tradition, beyond caution, beyond corporate restraint. And with one unexpected gesture, he altered the trajectory of Alex Eala's career forever. To understand why this moment shook the sport, you have to rewind, not just to that night, but to the journey that brought her there. February 2026. Zayed Sports City, Abu Dhabi. Alex Eala didn't arrive quietly. She arrived like a storm. Fresh off the highest ranking of her young career, world number 45, she had already made history before striking a single ball. The first Filipina ever to break into the WTA top 50. A nation that had waited decades for a tennis hero suddenly had won. But Alex wasn't satisfied with headlines. She wanted proof. She wanted more. The first round offered no mercy and no sentiment. Across the net stood someone she knew well, someone close, someone familiar. Friendship ended the moment the first serve was struck. With sharp angles, fearless timing, and ruthless intent, Alex dismantled her opponent 6-4, 6-3. Clean. Clinical. Unemotional. But that match was only the opening act. Because the second round would become the match that changed everything. Alex Eala versus Alexandra Sasnovich. Experience versus belief. Survivor versus challenger. Sasnovich wasn't just another opponent. She was a proven disruptor. A veteran who had built a career by breaking dreams. Grand Slam champions had fallen to her. She knew how to smell weakness. She knew how to close doors. And for a moment, it looked like she was about to close another. The third set began like a slow nightmare. 0-4. The scoreboard was brutal. The crowd grew uneasy. Momentum was gone. You could feel the shift. Phones were already opening. Draft tweets forming. Analysts preparing explanations. This was where young players usually fade. This was where talent bows to experience. But Alex Eala didn't look broken. She looked angry. Not outwardly. Not dramatically. But internally, something ignited. Point by point, she refused to disappear. She chased balls that made no sense. She redirected pace with fearless precision. She turned defense into attack. Doubt into defiance. What followed wasn't just a comeback. It was a statement. From 0-4 down, Alex clawed her way back into the match, dragging Sasnovich into deep exchanges, forcing errors, exposing hesitation. Every point shifted the energy. Every hold cracked the pressure. When the tiebreak arrived, the stadium was shaking. And when Alex sealed it, arms raised, eyes wide, disbelief written across her face, the eruption was instant. Fans screamed. Teammates jumped. Commentators lost composure. Pandemonium. But somewhere above the chaos, in the VIP section, one man wasn't cheering wildly. He was staring. Nigel Gupta, tournament director. 3 decades in the sport. Thousands of matches witnessed. Every kind of talent imaginable. And yet, something about this felt different. He wasn't watching a scoreline. He was watching a mindset. In that comeback, Gupta didn't see a lucky escape. He didn't see youthful energy. He saw something rare, something that can't be coached, bought, or manufactured. He saw the heart of a future world number 1. That match was not just a win. It was a revelation. Because beating Sasnovich wasn't about strokes or footwork. It was about refusing to accept reality when reality said the match was over. It was about standing in the fire and choosing to move forward anyway. Alexandra Sasnovich knew how to finish matches. She had done it against the best. But what she hadn't prepared for was the willpower of a 19-year-old Filipina who had spent her entire life proving she belonged. And that fight didn't come from nowhere. Alex Eala's story is built on sacrifice. She didn't grow up surrounded by elite academies or endless funding. Tennis was not a national shortcut. Every opportunity had to be earned. Every wild card fought for. Every scholarship justified. While others trained comfortably at home, Alex crossed continents. Spain became her classroom. The Rafa Nadal Academy became her forge. Far from family, far from familiarity, she learned discipline, resilience, and survival. Junior Grand Slams followed, yes, but juniors don't guarantee anything. The professional tour is where promise often dies quietly. The WTA is unforgiving. Former prodigies vanish every year, trapped in qualifiers, grinding for points, praying for one break. But Alex Eala was different. There was something in her eyes when the pressure peaked. A calm. An edge. An ability to elevate when everything was at stake. Ice where nerves should be. And that was exactly what Nigel Gupta recognized. He had seen champions rise. He had watched legends walk these courts. But what he witnessed that night wasn't growth. It was emergence. And then, something unheard of happened. After the match, as Alex toweled off and began packing her bag, an announcement echoed through the stadium. A request. Her presence was required back on center court. Confusion spread instantly. This wasn't normal. This wasn't protocol. This didn't happen. Alex froze. Was there an issue? A violation? A misunderstanding? The crowd quieted. The tension thickened. And then Nigel Gupta stepped onto the court. Not as an executive. Not as an official. But as a fan who had just witnessed something sacred. He took the microphone. And the moment he spoke, everything changed. Nigel Gupta stood at center court, microphone in hand, the desert air thick with anticipation. This was not on the schedule. This was not cleared by PR. This was not how tennis usually works. And yet, no one moved. No one spoke. Everyone felt it. Something extraordinary was about to be said. Alex Eala stood a few steps away, towel draped over her shoulders, still breathing hard from the battle she had just survived. Her eyes searched the director's face, trying to understand why she had been called back. Confusion flickered across her expression. Was this a mistake? A warning? A misunderstanding? Then Gupta began to speak. Not with the polished tone of an administrator. Not with rehearsed phrases. But with emotion. His voice wavered, just slightly. Enough for everyone to notice. Alexandra, he said, looking directly at her, not at the cameras, not at the crowd. I have watched professional tennis for more than 30 years. The stadium was silent. I have seen legends rise. I have seen champions dominate. I have seen the greatest players this sport has ever produced. A pause. But what I saw tonight, I have never seen before. A collective gasp rippled through the stands. Alex blinked. Her hands tightened around the towel. You, Gupta continued, are the best young talent I have ever seen. Time stopped. Not promising. Not exciting. Not one to watch. The best. Better than the names the media constantly pushes. Better than the prodigies crowned before they've truly been tested. Better than the hype machines and highlight reels. The statement landed like an earthquake. Better than Coco Gauff. Better than Emma Raducanu. Better than every so-called next big thing, anointed too early. The crowd erupted, but Gupta wasn't finished. He spoke about her technique. Not just clean, but adaptable. He spoke about her tactical awareness, how she reads opponents in real time, how she adjusts patterns mid-rally like a seasoned veteran. And then he spoke about something far rarer. The fire, he said. The will. The thing that makes opponents feel pressure even when they are winning. He called her not just a player, but a force. Alex stood frozen. Her face flushed red behind the towel she instinctively lifted to her mouth. Her coaches were already on their feet. Filipino flags waved wildly in the crowd. Somewhere, someone was crying. This wasn't praise. This was coronation. Then Gupta turned slightly and raised his hand. A signal. From the side of the court, an assistant stepped forward carrying something that instantly changed the atmosphere. It wasn't large. It wasn't flashy. But it was unmistakably deliberate. An elegant box. Not a trophy. Not an envelope. Not a check. A box. The murmurs stopped. The cameras zoomed. Even the ball kids leaned in. Gupta took it carefully, as if handling something fragile. Something meaningful. "You see," he said softly, "words are cheap." The crowd leaned forward. "Actions," he continued, "are what matter." Alex's eyes were locked on the box now. "I have held on to this for a long time," he said. Waiting for the right player. Someone who truly embodies the spirit of a champion." Another pause. Long, intentional. "Tonight," he said, his voice firm now, "I found her." He stepped forward and placed the box into Alex Eala's hands. Her fingers trembled instantly. You could hear a pin drop. Phones were raised everywhere. Screens glowing. People desperate to capture what felt like an unreal moment suspended in time. Alex hesitated. Not because she didn't want to open it, but because she seemed to understand that whatever was inside would change something forever. Slowly, carefully, she lifted the lid. And the moment she saw what was inside, she broke. Not a single dramatic tear. Not a polite, emotional smile. She collapsed inward. Her hand flew to her mouth. Her shoulders shook. Tears streamed down her face as disbelief washed over her. She looked up at Gupta, then back into the box, then toward her team in the stands, who were now openly crying themselves. She shook her head again and again, as if her mind refused to accept reality. She clutched the box to her chest like it was priceless. "Thank you," she mouthed. "Oh my God, thank you." She couldn't speak. She didn't need to. The emotion was raw, unfiltered, impossible to fake. This wasn't a marketing stunt. This wasn't scripted drama. This was a deeply personal exchange between someone who loved the sport and someone who had sacrificed everything for it. And instantly, the question exploded across the tennis world. What was inside the box? Tournament organizers said nothing. Officials stayed silent. No press release. No clarification. The mystery only grew. Insiders began whispering. Some claimed it was a golden key, an unlimited wildcard pass into every Mubadala-sponsored tournament worldwide for the next 5 years. Freedom from qualifiers. Guaranteed entry. Ranking points, prize money, exposure, an opportunity worth millions. Others suggested something even more exclusive. A personal mentorship letter. Arranged quietly. Signed by a living legend. Rafael Nadal. Roger Federer. Access to private training sessions. Strategy discussions. Learning tennis from the gods themselves. That kind of access isn't bought. It's granted. And then came the wildest rumor of all. That the box contained a piece of tennis history itself. A vintage heirloom. A charm, a necklace, an artifact once worn by a legend. Perhaps Billie Jean King. Perhaps Serena Williams, during a defining moment. Now passed forward. Not sold. Not displayed. Entrusted. A symbolic torch. Imagine carrying that weight onto the court. Not as jewelry, but as responsibility. Gupta reportedly called it the key to her destiny. And judging by Alex's reaction, it touched her far deeper than money ever could. Because this moment was never about wealth. It was about being seen. About someone with power in the sport looking a young athlete in the eye and saying, "I believe in you." For someone who had spent years grinding, doubting, traveling alone, fighting for every inch, this kind of validation can change a life. And the world felt it. The internet exploded. Hashtags surged to #1 in the Philippines and broke into global trends. Analysts scrambled. Former players debated. Commentators called it unprecedented. A major tournament director had effectively anointed a future star. Some called it dangerous, pressure-inducing, a target placed on her back. Others called it armor. Because now, the locker room knew. Alex Eala was no longer just promising. She was the one to beat. And the timing? Perfect. She was through to the quarterfinals. Next opponent, Ekaterina Alexandrova. A top 30 powerhouse. Heavy serve. Brutal ground strokes. Proven winner. On paper, Alexandrova was the favorite. But paper doesn't measure belief. Paper doesn't understand momentum. And paper cannot quantify what happens when a player truly feels chosen. Because after that night in Abu Dhabi, Alex Eala didn't feel tired. She didn't feel afraid. She felt inevitable.